Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you see India's most iconic airline. We're going behind the curtain of Air India, once a proud symbol of national progress, to uncover stories that have long been kept in the shadows. From whispered allegations of fraud to dangerous shortfalls in aircraft maintenance, we're pulling apart the glossy image to expose a history riddled with problems, secrets, and cover-ups. This is more than a documentary. It's a deep dive into the dark side of Indian aviation. Air India began with great promise, founded with a dream to connect a newly independent nation to the world. Its emblem, the Maharaja, became synonymous with luxury, hospitality, and excellence. But as the years rolled on, the reality behind the scenes began to unravel. Despite its legacy and importance, the airline turned into a symbol of inefficiency, political meddling, and financial decay. What went wrong? According to insiders, the trouble started with decisions made far from the runway. Senior officials signed questionable deals, purchased outdated aircraft, and handed out contracts without transparency. Billions were sunk into upgrades that never materialized, and over time, the airline became more of a burden than a beacon. Those in the cockpit weren't always the ones steering the course. Bureaucrats and politicians often called the shots, regardless of what was best for safety or service. As we looked closer, a disturbing pattern emerged. Engineers and technicians, many of whom spoke on condition of anonymity, described maintenance practices that cut corners. Planes were sent into the skies when they shouldn't have been. Tools were outdated, replacement parts were often hard to come by, and routine inspections were rushed or overlooked entirely. There are even claims that paperwork was deliberately manipulated to avoid delays, meaning planes that hadn't been properly checked were still being cleared to fly. This isn't fear-mongering. These are first-hand accounts from people who've worked within the system and have seen its flaws up close. Several spoke of an atmosphere where raising safety concerns could cost you your job. Others said they were told to just make it work, even when the equipment said otherwise. While official accident records may appear within limits, they don't tell the whole story. Many incidents, malfunctions mid-flight, technical failures, and near crashes never made it into the headlines. A culture of silence and damage control ensured that the public saw only the polished image, not the stress and dysfunction behind it. Air India's troubles weren't only technical. Administrative bloat, political interference, and a lack of clear vision turned what should have been a leading international airline into a struggling, debt-ridden shell. Successive governments tried and failed to fix it, until finally, in 2022, the airline was sold back to the Tata Group, the very family that had launched it in the 1930s. Since the handover, there's been a flurry of announcements: fleet renewal, staff training, new branding. But can years of systemic damage really be fixed with a new coat of paint? Can a change in ownership undo decades of bad decisions, outdated practices, and deeply ingrained habits? This video asks the uncomfortable questions that others avoid. We're not interested in shallow PR or public relations spin. We've reviewed testimony from former staff, dug through financial reports, and studied aviation audits to bring you the full picture, warts and all. The new era of Air India may be underway, but the shadows of the past haven't faded just yet. Next time you look up and see that familiar red and white aircraft in the sky, remember, there's a story behind that flight. A story that includes ignored warnings, backroom deals, and lives that may have been put in danger without the public ever knowing. If this investigation has opened your eyes, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more hard-hitting content. Because the truth about Air India isn't just about airplanes. It's about accountability, responsibility, and what happens when no one is held to either. We're just getting started. Stick around.